If it's OPC, we've got it covered. Welcome to OPC Expert Plugged In, where we break down the tech and tackle real-world challenges. Let's dive in.
Welcome back. If you've ever, struggled with the sheer hassle and cost of managing industrial data, then stick around. Today we're diving into something specific within OPC Expert, a feature called Archive OPC Data. The tagline sums it up pretty well. Smart OPC archiving, no installs, no hassle, no data loss. Not. So our goal today is to really unpack that. What is it? How does it work? And why is it potentially a game changer, minus the usual headaches?
Exactly. Fundamentally, Archive OPC Data is, it's built to be a much simpler, very user-friendly archiving solution. It plays nice with existing systems, supporting both the newer OPC UA standard and the, let's say, classic OPC DA.
Okay, so compatibility is there.
Right. And a key thing is efficiency. It uses what's called event-based capture, which we can dig into. Plus, it gives you flexible storage, CSV files, SQL databases. It's designed to be a really cost-effective alternative to those big traditional data historians.
All right, let's talk about that tagline then.
Yeah.
No installs, no hassle. That sounds, frankly, almost too good to be true for industrial software. What's going on there?
Yeah, it does sound different, doesn't it? But that's genuinely its core advantage. No installation routine, it doesn't write to the Windows registry, and crucially, no admin rights needed.
Wait, really? No admin rights?
None. So you can basically run it from, say, a USB stick on pretty much any computer without needing to call IT or get special permissions.
Huh. So a maintenance tech could just plug in and start archiving data from a machine.
Precisely. That's the idea. Reduces that dependency on IT for these kinds of tasks. And for continuous use, you can set it up to run as a Windows service. So it just keeps running in the background, collecting data, even if no one's logged in.
Okay, so it's definitely light on its feet and independent. But you mentioned handling data intelligently. How does it manage the capture part, especially with potentially huge amounts of data flying around?
Right. That comes back to the event-based data capture. Think of it this way. Instead of recording a value every second, regardless of whether it changed.
Like many traditional systems do.
Exactly. Which fills up storage fast. This only captures data when a value actually changes or, based on rules you set.
So it's smarter about what it saves. Less noise, more signal.
You got it. It significantly cuts down storage needs and means you're processing more meaningful data, not just constant streams of the same value. And linked to that is the store and forward capability. This is vital for reliability.
Okay. For when the network inevitably drops out.
Precisely. If the connection to the database or wherever you're sending the data goes down, which happens, right? Industrial environments aren't always perfect.
Tell me about it.
It just temporarily buffers the data locally on the machine running the archiver. As soon as the connection's back up, it forwards all that stored data automatically.
So no gaps. You don't lose that history just because of a network blip.
Correct. No data loss. That's a core promise.
That's huge. Okay, so we've got reliable capture. What about getting the data out and using it? Where can it send this archive data, and how easy is it to access?
Good question. It's pretty flexible there, too. You've got CSV and SQL storage options. So you can save to simple CSV text files, easy to open in Excel, whatever, or push data into relational databases. Think Microsoft SQL Server, MySQL, even SQLite if you want something local and simple.
And cloud. Everyone's talking cloud these days.
Yep, cloud is supported. Microsoft Azure SQL, Amazon AWS RDS, even NoSQL options like MongoDB. So you can get that data accessible from pretty much anywhere. And compatibility-wise, it covers a lot of ground. OPC Classic DA, A&E, HDA, and the modern OPC UA standards DA, ANC, HA. It even speaks MQTT.
MQTT too. Okay, so it fits into quite a few different architectures.
Definitely. And the other piece you asked about ease of use, there's this easy data selection and archiving. Literally, inside OPC Expert, you can often just browse to the data points you want, right-click, and start archiving them.
Just a right-click?
Yeah. For basic setups, it's often that simple. It makes it usable for people who aren't necessarily IT or control system gurus, operations managers, maintenance folks. They can potentially set up their own data logging.
Okay. This really does sound like it tackles some major headaches, especially that cost and complexity aspect of traditional historians. So wrapping this part up, what's the bottom line for someone listening who needs better control over their operational data?
The bottom line is you get a genuinely cost-effective alternative. You're cutting out Potentially huge costs for historian software licenses, maybe dedicated hardware. It helps solve problems like, data scattered across different systems or data gaps because of downtime. It makes historical data much more accessible. Basically, it simplifies things, helps with compliance, helps with analysis without breaking the bank or needing a massive IT project.
So, summing up the big benefits. Super easy to use, no install hassles, really robust data integrity even if the network flakes out, and potentially
OPC
significant
redundancy
cost
and
savings.
OPC
That's a good
Expert
summary.
is basically about
What's really
making sure
interesting, I
you
think, is
always
how
have
it just
access to
strips
your
away
essential
layers of
industrial data.
complexity
That's the
often
goal.
associated
Even if your
with
primary
industrial
server
data.
decides to
Makes
take
it
a break,
accessible,
it
makes
uses
it
backup,
efficient,
watches both
and maybe that
constantly,
leads to a
switches
question for you
automatically
listening. If
when needed.
managing your data became
And
this
offers those
straightforward,
different
this
readiness levels,
cost-effective,
hot,
what
warm,
could you
cold,
actually do with
plus
it?
the
What
custom
new
triggers.
insights
All
are
with that
waiting
focus
in your
on making the
operational
setup
data
less
if it
painful.
were
Exactly.
easier to
It's
get
about
to?
building
Yeah,
a
that's
more
a powerful
resilient, more
thought. How
reliable
could that
OPC
simpler
environment
approach
for
really
your
change how you
operations.
use your
Well,
data
for
day to
you,
day?
the listener, really think about the critical data that your operations depend on. How much could implementing a solid redundancy strategy like this one impact your peace of mind and maybe your overall efficiency? Definitely something to chew on.